All right. Live stream should be starting up right now, guys. How's it going? Happy Thursday. Excited to talk about the showdown slate tonight. We have another Millie Maker to first. Obviously, we have Patriots Rams. We got NBA starting up tomorrow. So, a lot of things to look forward to. If you guys are new to the channel, new to the live stream, how this works is we'll take a look at the Vegas odds here. We'll take a look at the snap counts for each of these teams in the most recent game to get a good idea of kind of what the snap distribution is going to be. And then, I'll give a player-by-player breakdown. I'll be talking cash games. I'll be talking tournaments. And then we'll get to questions at the end. We have 30 minutes, so a lot of time. And again, I will get to all your questions. If you do have a question, make sure to leave it in the chat. I'll get to it once I'm done with my breakdown. So, all right, let's start here. Bird season. Yeah, Bird's going to be very, very popular. He's underpriced. We'll talk about that. I think you probably looked at him in a setting like cash. A pivot for Bird is probably a guy like N'Keal Harry for a little bit more. I think the ownership is going to be a lot lower on him. It kind of reminds me of Baltimore on Monday with Devin Duvernay picking up all that ownership, and then Miles Boykin was like an eighth of the ownership. So I don't think it's going to be that crazy tonight, but N'Keal Harry, you could look to a pivot off of I think are going to be a pretty popular Demir Bird. But let's talk about the Vegas odds here. So, yeah, it's a 43.5 over under, so definitely on the lower side. Both defenses have flash upside. Rams are probably the better overall defense. We know the Patriots had a shutout last game, right? Their defense been a little up and down. But Rams are 5-point favorites in this one. I think you can feel a little bit more comfortable with the Rams offense than the Patriots in this game. So if we look at snap counts in their most recent game, Patriots won 45-0 last game, so you have to take this a little bit of grain of salt. Damien Harris played 49%, Sony Michel 33%, James White 28%. In a game that was a lot more competitive the week before, you can kind of look how the snaps were distributed. It was Damien Harris 64%, James White 38%, and Sony Michel only out there for a snap. So, what do I expect here for the Patriots? Well, I expect Damien Harris to be their lead back, the guy to go to on the early downs. I expect James White to be their pass catching back, right? No more competition with Rex Burkhead. And Sony Michel will probably pick up a couple carries here and there, but I'm not super interested in him. Wide receivers for the Patriots, yeah. So Myers, Bird, right? They're the top two guys, 84 and 78% of snaps respectively. And then N'Keal Harry, the number 3, played just over half the game at 51%. Moncrief, I expect to get a little bit of work. He played about a quarter of the game last game. Tight ends for the Patriots, I just don't really have interest. I know Izzo's out. I mean, they have Keene, they have Asiasi's available. It's just the Patriots don't really go to the tight ends. So if you want to take a dart throw on one of those guys to get super contrarian and like a Millie Maker, I get it. But it's Patriots tight ends are not really, or I'm not really considering for my one lineup. Rams and their running backs, well, throughout the season, it's basically been a three-headed monster. But the last game, Cam Akers kind of took over 20 carries. He had 63% of the snaps. Henderson snaps went down to 22%, and Malcolm Brown down to 16%. If we look at the game before, I think it was a pretty even split. Yeah, it was 40 for Malcolm Brown, 32 for Henderson, 27 for Cam Akers. And it's just a situation that Cam Akers is priced up. And I have absolutely no trust in a guy like Sean McVay. We've seen it so many times so far this season. Earlier on in one of the showdown slates this season, Cam Akers, I think he had 9 carries the game before. And McVay said they need to get Cam Akers more touches. And what happened that game? Well, he did not play. So do I expect Cam Akers to get 20-plus touches again? No, I don't. And I think some people might be swayed by that most recent game. Again, I have zero trust in McVay tonight. Wide receivers for the Rams. Normally, Kupp and Woods are going to play a majority of the game. That last game, 75 and 65% of the snaps. A little worrisome, but I expect both of them to be out there a good amount of the game. Now, the change that happened last game was Van Jefferson actually leapfrogged Reynolds. Both played about half the snaps. But if we go back 1 week, Jefferson didn't even play. And then the top 3 receivers played 100, 98, and 89% of snaps. And if you go back to week 11, Van Jefferson played like 6% of the snaps. So, what do we expect here from Van Jefferson? I don't know. I think he could play anywhere from literally 0 snaps to about half the game. And then finally, tight ends for the Rams. Well, both tight ends will be utilized here with Higbee and Everett. Both are decent pass catching. Oh, nice, Mike. Thanks, man. Both are decent pass-catching tight ends. Higbee is a little bit more expensive. But yeah, Everett, Higbee, both viable on this slate. And both, again, are guys that do have roles in this offense, guys that they look to in the red zone. So both viable options on this slate. All right, let's talk about the player-by-player breakdown. Real quick, though, if you guys enjoy the content, would really appreciate if you hit the like button. That does really help me out to continue to put out free content for you guys. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. Closing in on 6K. Looking like we're going to hit 6K maybe in the next day or so. And again, if you guys are interested in NBA, I have a ton of content coming up. I already have a video up for the NBA preseason slate on Friday. I'll be live streaming for that as well. Also, if you guys are kind of new to NBA DFS, I have a video of how to be a successful player, kind of go over the basics. So check those out if you're interested. But all right, let's talk about the players here and the prices. So Jared Goff at 11K is going to be one of the more popular plays of the slate for sure. With his, if you're game log watching, he's been a little up and down, 14, 28, 6, and 27 fantasy points. But I think you can feel a little bit more comfortable with this Rams offense than you can with the Patriots offense. So I think Goff will be, I don't know, it's actually close because Goff doesn't really possess any rushing upside, whereas Cam Newton does. I still think Goff will probably be slightly higher owned than Cam Newton. If you guys are playing cash games, I think you do play both quarterbacks with both Cam and Jared Goff. Is enough value, right? You kind of have a couple free square, in my opinion, in Damiere Byrd for cash games. Again, you can look to pivot with N'Keal Harry and GPPs. But yeah, with Goff at the top, I think he looks pretty good. You have two clear guys you can pair him with Kupp and Woods, we'll get to in a sec. But yeah, like his floor, does possess upside as well of like 25 to 30. And yeah, he's going to be very popular. Can you make the argument to fade him tonight in GPPs? I think you can. There's definitely a way where Jared Goff doesn't get you there. We've seen it a lot of times in these showdown sites where like the top quarterback or the team or the quarterback with the team that is projected to win actually is not in the winning lineup, right? We saw it with Russell Wilson a couple weeks ago. We've seen it a good amount of times recently. So he's not a must play in GPPs, but definitely a safer option. Again, I think someone you look to for cash games. Same thing with Cam Newton. As a whole, this New England offense is super frustrating just because if it's a neutral game script or they're playing from ahead, they're just going to run the ball. They do not throw the ball. But in games they've fallen behind, like they will air it out. 40 pass attempts for Cam there against Houston. The game against Arizona was close, 18. The game against the Chargers where they won 45-0, 19 pass attempts. So Cam, he can throw anywhere from probably 15 to 40 plus times, right? He has that wide of a distribution as far as pass attempts. It really depends on the game script. So if you think the Patriots fall behind this one, Cam probably looks a little better. If you're a little bit more confident with the Patriots, you think that they might be playing from a lead, then I think you can make the argument to fade Cam in GPPs because, again, Patriots are just such a run-first team. They have three backs they will utilize. So, but overall, again, cash games, you play Cam, you play Goff. And Cam does possess rushing upside, 48 and 46 yards in the ground the last couple of games. So, and someone you can look to, we'll talk about captains at the end, but someone you can look to in the captain spot as well because he does possess that rushing upside. Now, with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, I like both these guys a lot. They're also going to be very popular. The top two pieces here in this offense, both targeted, or average around double-digit targets a game. Both have upside of, probably 25 to 30 fantasy points. I think you probably look to one or even both. You can get both quarterbacks, Kupp and Woods, in your lineup in cash. And that's probably, something that I'm definitely looking to if I was playing cash games. As far as Kupp versus Woods, who do I prefer? Well, when they're priced about the same, I always do give the edge to Kupp. But if you're taking ownership into consideration, I think Woods probably comes in slightly lower owned would be my best guess. We saw it last week on the main slate, right? We had Kupp and Woods at almost identical prices. And Kupp was like the absolute shock, whereas Woods was super low owned. So I think Kupp will probably be a little more popular. Again, if you're taking ownership in consideration, maybe you give the edge to Woods, but both are not going to be, they're not going to be low owned, right? They both will be pretty popular. I do think Kupp probably is a little bit more popular than Woods, but if you're going to pick between those two, again, you're going to have to make a tough call. Both possess upside as regards to Kupp and Woods. I think you can look to either of these guys in the captain spot for cash, and we'll talk about that at the end, but I think you could go there if you want to. Now, with Damien Harris at 8.8K, I'm not as excited about him. Rams have a really stout defensive line here, and Damien Harris has no pass catching ability, right? That's what James White's out there for. So, sure, he's going to be the early down back. And he's overpriced. But is he out of play? No. The way Damien Harris gets there is if the Patriots get off to an early lead. Because like I said, they are a run-first team, and they are going to run the ball a ton if it's neutral or they're playing from ahead game script-wise. So, yes, he's overpriced for sure. Is he out of play? No. Is he someone I'm looking to for my one lineup? No. But, still viable. I think just more of a contrarian play. Same thing with Cam Akers. I think he'll be pretty popular after that last game. I know 21 carries. I know he's been getting a lot of carries in the red zone as well compared to Henderson and Brown. I don't trust McVay. I have no trust in him. So, could you go to Cam Akers? Yes, I think the ownership will probably be a little higher than it should, in my opinion. He is their most talented back, but I could see this going right back to an even three-way split and an 8K. Yeah, he's just someone I'm not looking to in either format. I don't think you play Cam Akers in either cash or in cash games. Obviously, you can look to him in GPPs, but I just don't feel comfortable with it. Again, I don't trust McVay. I've talked about that a lot with the videos, with obviously just tonight as well. But he just, again, if we go off an example early this season, he had 9 carries a game before. McVay said they want to give him more involved, and he came out and did not play. So, yeah, he's someone I'm not really looking to. I'm not really looking to Henderson either at 7-4. I just think it's too pricey. Again, his snaps went way down. Like, if I am going to play a Rams running back, I think I would just take the shot and hope that he gets like kind of that bell cow role like we saw last game. But with Henderson at 7-4, that's way too pricey for a guy that the snaps went way down. Doesn't have a whole lot of involvement in the passing game, right? Malcolm Brown is kind of that guy that they're passing down back. So, yeah, Rams, the running backs, I'm really not on in this slate. Jacoby Myers at 6'8", I think makes for an interesting play in the mid-range. I don't think he'll be super popular. He had some big games, midway through in the season, with 6 catches on 10 targets, 12 catches on 14 targets. Still no Edelman, so him and Bird will be the number 1 and number 2 here. With the price, I think he's fine in the mid-range, right? But obviously the price probably looks better on a guy like Damiere Byrd for $800. Probably even looks a little bit better on a guy like N'Keal Harry as well. So with Jacoby Myers, definitely somebody to look to for GPPs. Does possess upside, been a little bit up and down. I think he is viable on this slate. Again, still no Edelman. James White at 6'4". I would rather play White than Damien Harris just because of his pass catching ability. And again, the Patriots are 5.5 point dogs. So the line is saying that they probably will be playing from behind. Now, there's no guarantee, but if they do fall behind, if the Patriots fall behind a couple scores, James White will be used primarily as their back. And again, he's a good pass catching running back. At 6'4", though, that is a little pricey. Like, he is overpriced. But if I was going to play a Patriots running back, it would be James White for me. Moving down the list. So, Reynolds, 5'6". I'm pumping the brakes a bit. Just off what we saw last game. Now, sure, could the snaps go back up to like 80%? Yes. But Van Jefferson playing more than him last game is a little bit worrisome. So, with Reynolds, I think he's just more of a contrarian play. Obviously, things can change, right? He could go back to 80, 90% snaps and, have upside. But at this price, I think, like, for me, I would rather just play either Jacoby Myers or James White at, a pretty similar price. Higbee versus Gerald Everett. So Higbee's at 5K, Everett at 3.4. Both guys are involved in the passing game. 6-4, 2 and 6 targets for Higbee the last 4 games. You look at Everett, 3, 5, 2 and 7, right? So both averaging around 4 or so targets a game, 4 or 5 targets. I'll take the discount on Everett. I think Everett will be more popular though. So if you're looking for ownership and you're taking ownership consideration, you could spend up a little bit more for Higbee to differentiate yourself. But yeah, if you're talking optimal plays, I think Everett is the better play for almost, the $2,000 difference there. Sony Michel at 4.8. Well, yes, he had 10 carries last game. He had 1 catch, but I think it was 8 of those 10 carries in the second half in a game that was just a complete blowout. So I don't fully trust that he's going to be involved a ton here. He will, I think, be their third back. And again, doesn't have a ton of involvement in the passing game. My best guess for what his role is, I would say probably he gets 2 to 5 touches tonight. And at 4.8, with no involvement in the passing game, I just think I'm going to look elsewhere. With the defenses, so we have the Rams D at 4.4, Patriots D at 4.2. We've seen some outrageous prices of the defenses on the showdown sites. These are more viable. And again, this is a lower over-under, so I think you could look to either defense. Wouldn't go there in cash games, but yeah, I think the defense I would prefer would be the Rams. They're going to be a lot more popular. You could go to the Patriots, but they had a shutout last week. So, yeah, defenses are in play. Am I looking to either for my one tournament lineup that I play? No. But they're more in play on this slate. With the kickers, with Matt Gay and Folk, both viable. I mean, for me, I would rather take the shot on the kicker that is more the team is favored. So I would rather play Matt Gay on the Rams and Nick Folk. Both viable, though. Again, this is an uglier game. Maybe teams settle for field goals a bit more. So you can definitely look to kickers in either format, in either cash or GPPs. When we talk about Everett, I prefer him to Higbee if you're going to make me pick, right? I just think he is the price discount there. I prefer that. Now, Van Jefferson at 2.6, so this is a tricky one, right? He got the big bump. He played about half the game last game. Do we expect that again? I don't know, right? Another situation, I'm a little bit weary. Now, he could play over half the game again, or about half the game, but the snaps could also go down to like 0. I would not be surprised, right? This is kind of the same situation with Cam Akers. Now, Van Jefferson is a lot cheaper, so I would feel more comfortable taking a shot on him than paying $8K for Akers, because if things go wrong for Van Jefferson, he can probably still get you there in, 15-20% of the snaps, let's say, whereas Cam Akers, if it's an even three-way split, like there's a very, very small chance that he gets you there at that price. So that's kind of my thoughts there. Malcolm Brown's at 2.4. Again, he's their pass-catching running back. Again, the snaps went down for him and Henderson the last game. They could go back up. Again, 2 games ago, he got the most amount of snaps. At 2.4, like that's a doable price. But it's hard to really feel confident with any of these Rams backs, in my opinion. N'Keal Harry's at 1.8. So this is kind of where I look to if you're going to want to pivot off a chalky Damiere Byrd, right? N'Keal Harry won't play as many snaps, but I expect probably about half the game. And you're going to get him at lower ownership than you are Damiere Byrd. So that's kind of a direct pivot if you want to get different or differentiate your lineups. Now, N'Keal Harry has flashed some upside this season. He had the game against Seattle where he had 8 catches on 12 targets. He had the game against Houston a couple weeks ago, 5 catches and 8 targets. So, yeah, 1.8, that's in play for sure. And then Damiere Byrd at $800, and he is going to be the most popular value play. He's the value play that I feel the most comfortable with. I expect about 80% of the snaps for him. He's had games where he had over 100 yards. Right? This guy possesses upside. It's just a missed price on DraftKings. For cash games, definitely play him for value. For GPPs, I think you can make the argument to fade him right in higher stakes tournaments. Damiere Byrd is going to be super popular. In the lower stakes stuff, I don't think he'll be as popular. And then, Moncrief will be the number 4 receiver. I expect about a quarter of the game. It's nothing more than a dart throw. Like I would just rather play Byrd. I would rather play N'Keal Harry at a similar price. And yeah, with the Patriots and their tight ends, I'm not really looking to any of the tight ends, to be honest. Again, none of the tight ends are really involved. Ryan Izzo is out, but yeah, they have Thomas is out as well. Jordan Thomas is out as well. He's inactive, so it's going to be Keene and Asiasi. As far as the Patriots tight ends, Keene is at $200. I think Asiasi is as well. If you want to take a dart throw on one of those guys, you can. They're going to be super, super low owned. But yeah, it's hard to feel confident with either of them. And that basically wraps it up for my player-by-player breakdown. So let's talk about captains. Let's talk about cash games, right? So for cash games, there's 4 guys I would consider for captain: Goff, Newton, Kupp, Woods. I don't think you go anyone else in the captain spot for cash games. So yeah, any one of those 4. And I think you probably try to get at least 3 of these 4 guys in your cash game lineup. You can get all 4 if you want to. I think that's probably the optimal way, is to get both quarterbacks and both of the top Rams receivers, in my opinion. I don't trust the running backs in the slate. They're all a little bit pricey. With the Rams is the 3-way split. And sure, Cam Akers played more the last game, but I'm pumping the brakes there. With the Patriots, they're all just a little bit pricey as well. So in cash games, I feel more comfortable with the receivers on this one. And then for GPPs, who are guys I'm considering? Well, Cam is in consideration. About 75% of the time, it's either a running back or wide receiver in the winning lineup at captain, but Cam Newton possesses that rushing upside where I think you can definitely look to him in the captain. Obviously, both Kupp and Woods, those guys probably have the most upside as far as the wide receivers go on the slate. Running backs, again, I'm not really targeting anyone for the captain spot at running back. I think Jacoby Myers in the mid-range goes a little bit forgotten about, a little bit lower owned. I kind of like him as a contrarian play. And then if you want to take a shot on someone cheap, I don't think I would go the tight ends in the captain with Higbee or Everett. I just don't think they possess that huge upside. But yeah, for like cheap options, I think you can give a look to some of these wide receivers. So a guy like Damiere Byrd, right? We went over that build. If you go Damiere Byrd in the captain spot, that leaves you 9.7 carry remaining. You can jam in whoever you want into your lineup, right? You can just do that if you want to. So that's a viable approach if you want to take that for GPPs. Again, I think a direct pivot off of Damiere Byrd is a guy like N'Keal Harry. Play a little bit less, but he'll come in at lower ownership. And yeah, I think that's really all I got, guys. So about 10 minutes until lock. I'll ask one more time if you enjoyed the content to hit that like button. It does help me out a ton, guys. So let's get into some questions. Make sure to leave them in the chat. I will get to all of your questions. All right, Woods or Goff at captain? It depends. For a GP, for cash games, I would probably go Goff. I think I would slightly prefer Goff. For GPPs, I would go Woods. I like the upside a little bit more on Woods. Captain, Kupp, flex, Goff, Jefferson, Byrd, Harris. It's a bit contrarian. If that's GPP, that is fine, right? There's ways where Damien Harris gets you there, but I think you need the Patriots to be playing from ahead. Is Akers playing? Yes, Cam Akers is playing. Let's get this money. Favorite captain? I'll say Kupp or Woods for me. I know it's like that's not contrarian, but yeah, it's Kupp or Woods. DK, Rams defense or Washington football defense in my regular fantasy league? Who is Washington playing again? I think I would go the Rams. Well, let me see who Washington's playing. The 49ers. Yeah, I guess that's a tough one. I think I would go the Rams, but it's close. Love the show. PPR 12, starter sit, Akers. I would probably sit. I'm just not fully convinced with him. Is both quarterbacks a must? I think for cash games, yes. For GPPs, no. You don't have to play both quarterbacks in GPPs. Kupp or Cam for captain in cash? Yeah. Those are two of the top captains for cash, in my opinion. Captain Woods, Rams, Byrd, Goff, Kupp, and White. I think that's fine. You're kind of playing for a uglier game. Obviously, the Rams defense does possess upside. Gay or Everett? I think for a cash game setting, I always lean towards the kicker, but the upside is probably a little bit higher on Everett, who is a guy that they can look to the red zone. So if you're shooting for the upside, I think I would go Everett. If you're playing for the safety, I think I would go Gay. DK, Rams defense. Oh, I already answered that. Okay. Do you think double defense is viable today? You can do it. It's going to be pretty contrarian. What you need there is you need a really ugly game with probably at least a defensive score and a good amount of sacks. Again, viable, right? Both defenses are pretty solid. So, yeah, you can do that. But it's not something I'm really looking to for my one lineup. How does this look for tournament CK? Captain, Byrd, Cam, Goff, Kupp, Woods, Akers. Yep, so that's kind of, I think that was the lineup I just went over with Byrd and the captain. Yeah, that has a good amount of upside. You can play Byrd and then fit whoever else you want in there. Byrd is just underpriced, so completely fine with that. What do you think about Harry? I like Harry as a pivot off Byrd. Harry's going to come in at lower ownership. He'll play a little bit less, but yeah, I think he will be much lower owned. Kind of is a pretty similar situation, in my opinion, to Boykin and Duvernay on Monday, right? Duvernay was 40% owned. Miles Boykin, 5% owned. I don't think it's to be that crazy, but Byrd is definitely going to be more popular. Goff captain with Woods, Kupp, Cam, Byrd, and Harry, or swap out Woods and Harry for Akers and Rams and cash. I would go with the first option. So I would go with Woods captain, Kupp, Cam, Byrd, Harry. What are your thoughts on Captain Woods, flex Goff? Captain Woods, flex Goff, Cam, Everett, Kupp, and Byrd. I like that a lot. Very, very similar to the build that I'm going. I'm kind of playing a more chalky build, I guess. But yeah, it's very, very similar to what I got. Do you think double defense is viable? Yes, it is viable on a slate like this. Percent chance we see 5 running backs in the optimal lineup. 5 running backs, I would say less than 1%. Good luck, DK. Yeah, good luck to you as well. Thanks for checking out the live stream. Captain, Byrd, flex Goff, Newton, Woods, Kupp, Akers. Yep, completely fine with me. Jared Goff or Cam Newton. Depends what the rest of your lineup looks like if you're going to make me pick between the two. So, yeah, that's a tough one. Cam is a guy that can get it done himself on the ground. So, if you have like a Rams stack, maybe you can look to a guy like Cam as like the run back for the Patriots side. Harry on the Patriots side, good. Wait, can you say that again? Sorry. Harry or Van Jefferson? For me, I would rather take the shot on Harry. Both played about the same, but I'm a little bit more comfortable with Harry's snaps than I am with Van Jefferson. You playing both quarterbacks or fading one? I'm playing both. Harry pivot off Bird. Yep. Again, that's kind of the direct pivot. Bird's going to be popular. Harry will be lower owned. I think you can look to Harry as the direct pivot. Well, watch Malcolm Brown score 2 TDs. Says I can't make this up. Well, he is cheap, right? He's 2.4K. So, Malcolm Brown, if we're taking pricing consideration, he would probably be the Rams back I would play. Now, again, I'm not. If you are convinced that Cam Akers is going to be kind of their bell cow back like we saw last game, then he is definitely in play tonight. I gave my thoughts of why I'm not fully convinced about that with McVay and what we've seen this year. Kupp, Bird, or Akers and Myers. I'd rather go Kupp and Bird. I think you can do 2 running backs from one team in this. Yeah, you can. That will kind of differentiate yourself if you play 2 Patriots running backs or 2 Rams running backs. Not a lot of people are going to do that. So, you could go White and Damien Harris. You could go Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown, right? That's one that will definitely differentiate yourself in a tournament like the Millie Maker. And if you're going to try to take solo first, you got to get different somehow. Who's your captain? Again, I'm playing a chalky build. I'm going Cooper Kupp in the captain. Captain Woods, Kupp, Goff, Harry, Cam, Bird. How is it? I think it looks great. Any love for James White? He would be my favorite Patriots running back just because he's their pass catching back. It's a game they're 5.5 point dogs. So I feel the best about White. Now he's still overpriced. 6'4" is still pricey for him, but he would be the guy, the running back. If I was going to play a running back, I would look to James White on the Patriots. Everett, Gay, or Harry? I've got Bird already. That's a close one, right? I think for a cash game, it's close, but probably Gay just because kickers, probably have a little bit higher floor than either Everett or Harry. For upside, I think Harry probably does possess the most upside. And Everett is still fine play as well. So, yeah, that one's a tough one. I think go with your gut. I don't have a super strong take there. Good luck, everyone. Happy holidays. Yeah, good luck to you as well. Hope you have a great day, man. Who should I drop, Kupp or Woods, to make room for Myers? I don't have a strong take there. Again, I think Kupp I do prefer him slightly. But if you're taking ownership in consideration, I think Woods will come in at lower ownership. So take that information what you want. Again, I don't have a strong take there. Kupp, Bird, or Myers, Akers, went over that. Okay, I would go Kupp, Bird. Jefferson or Brown? I would rather take the shot on Jefferson. I think he does possess a little bit more upside than Malcolm Brown. Both, obviously, there's risk, right? Jefferson, the snaps could go down. Malcolm Brown, after the last game, did not play a ton. So there's risk involved with both. They're both, again, not optimal cheap plays, but I would rather, I think, take the shot on Jefferson if we're going for the upside. How do you get so many crowns? LOL. Been playing for a while. Haven't used them. Might just save up for $1 million, to be honest. I know people always comment on that. Do you like Captain Goff Flex, Cam, Woods, Myers, Jefferson, Gay, and GPP? Yep, I do. That's good to me. He never uses his crowns. Exactly. What do you think about Captain Woods, Kupp, Goff, Harry, Cam, Bird? How is it? I think that's perfectly fine, right? I think you're using 2 value plays with Harry and Bird. You got both quarterbacks, and you have the 2 top receivers for the Rams. So I think that looks pretty good. Who's your captain? I'm going Cooper Kupp in the captain. I know I'm playing. Usually on these showdown sites, I play a little bit more contrarian. In this one, I'm kind of playing more of an optimal build. You like Jacoby Myers? I do. I think he goes a little bit lower owned in this slate, but does possess upside. We haven't seen a lot from him recently, but we've seen some big games from Myers this year. Asiasi, he's going to be probably 1% owned. Just the Patriots don't go to their tight ends, but hey, I mean, he'll be super, super low, and if he catches a touchdown, that's one way to win a Millie Maker. So good luck all. Yeah, good luck to you guys. We're closing in on lock. I think we hit almost 200 concurrent viewers in this as well, so I do appreciate you guys coming to check out the live stream. I'll ask one more time before you guys get out of here to hit that like button. It does help me out. But yeah, we are now at lock. So I'll go over ownership if you guys want to stick around. Usually it takes about a couple minutes. So if you want to stick around, we'll go over ownership in the Millie Maker and then we'll get out here. Again, if you guys are interested in NBA content, preseason video I already have up on my channel. I will be live streaming tomorrow as well, probably 45 to an hour before lock, going over all the news. Good luck. All this slate sucks. I think it's an okay slate. You know, obviously the game in general might be a little bit ugly, but I think the slate's it's decent. I'm interested to see what the ownership is. Can't wait for NBA. Really like the improvements on the channel, DK. Hey, thanks, man. I do appreciate that a lot. You're trying to make some upgrades, obviously, with green screen and the mic as well. God, I'm so excited for NBA. It's going to be great. I am so excited for the grind of just slates every single day. Right? It's a new puzzle. Love it. All right, let's see. Ownership, yep. No, it usually does. Again, takes a little bit here. Smash that like. Hey, we are at 50 likes now, guys. Thank you. I do appreciate that a lot. All right, let's go over some ownership. Just came in. We'll talk about the Millie Maker. So, Millie Maker, we can go over my lineup. Again, I played a pretty chalky build, I think. So I played Kupp in the captain. He's 66% owned overall. I played Jared Goff, who's 78% overall. Cam Newton, 67% owned. Robert Woods, 65% owned. So no real surprise there, right? The top four guys all being pretty popular. I put GERALD Everett as, I guess, my lower owned value play. He came in at only 12% owned. I think that looks decent. And then Damiere Byrd, almost 40% owned. Not a huge surprise there with that. Let's go over some. I'll look at some other people's lineups to look at some ownership. Damien Harris coming in at 30%. I still think that's a little high, to be honest. Jacoby Myers, 30%. Again, kind of like that. I think he does possess some upside there in the mid-range. Patriots D, 13%. I think it's a little high. Nick Folk, 11%. I think that's fine. Let's see. What else do we got here? Love that ownership. Bird, 35% owned, less than 5% in the captain. Yeah, he is still under-owned, in my opinion. Cam Akers, 40%. So, yeah, that's the biggest edge for us. If the Rams go back to like a three-way split, then there's no way Cam Akers pays off his salary. Now, sure, right, things could go right. They could go more to Cam Akers again this game, but I don't trust McVay. So I guess that's my biggest edge is with Cam Akers fading him at 40% ownership. Henderson came in at 12%. I still think that's a little bit too high, even at 12% ownership. Let's take a look at some other ownership here, trying to find some other guys. Rams defense, 25%. A little high, too. A little high. Like, I would rather play the Rams than the Patriots, but I really thought Akers would be over 40%. What is that 40% basically on the dot? Love that ownership. Hit the like button, guys. This guy deserves it. Hey, I appreciate that, Jose. Thank you. Van Jefferson, 9%. Malcolm Brown, 4%. Matt Gay, 10%. There's not a ton of stuff really that's surprising here. Right, I expected. Oh, James White, 24%. Again, he would be my favorite Patriots back. But yeah, that's really it as far as ownership goes. Cam, greater than 13% in captain. Hate that guy, but I'm rooting for him tonight. Again, he does obviously possess upside with his rushing ability, but I think I'm going to get out of here, guys. I'm going to go watch this game. So good luck. Again, I really do appreciate you guys coming to check out the live stream. I'll have a final look video for Week 14's main slate NFL. That'll be up tomorrow. Again, if you guys are interested in NBA, that is already up as well. So thanks again, guys. Good luck, and I will see you all later.